Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 18th installment of TGIF. Nice to have everyone here. TGIF is where we talk about everything happening in each of Covenant's orders, and sometimes we have special guests. Today, I would like to focus on Kat's favorite subnet, which is Basilica. About a month back, we decided to go back to the drawing board and to use lessons learned to rebuild Basilica from first principles. So we're looking to launch pretty soon. We're just cleaning up some teething issues, and we also want to launch with some of our integrated partners. This is what we're teething with right now. So far, the code is working, but we need the partners to be ready. So the launch is really impactful, because usually I just drop code, but I've been told I need to market and product more. So that's what we're doing. Let's talk about Basilica and what our take on Basilica is right now. Decentralized compute has a very serious max problem. You supply the compute, you pay at least a 20% margin for the compute as the platform, and you sell it at up to 50% of a discount. This is absolutely ludicrous. And after running it for a while, we realized that we can't run this product this way. And especially given the writing on the wall and how Tailflow and whatever machination cooks up, we need to be very efficient with how we do revenue. And we just can't be giving money out. We just can't be doing that. So we have to think that, okay, what do we do about this? What we're going to do now is that you always have to have miners. But having miners just go and click and rent from Shadeform or whatever is not intelligent. So how do we push our miner to the intelligent things we can't do ourselves? Because my argument is, if I'm going to overpay for this compute, I'm not going to compute myself. So what we've done with our new incentive mechanism in Basilica is we say, miners, you need to be competitive with decentralized compute. So we run a hybrid structure where we have the community cloud and we have the secure cloud. As miners, if you cannot be competitive with a secure cloud, then we're not going to use you, because we have GPU relationships that we can get those GPUs at cost. Is that also you guys need to be in that region to be used? That's one. And part two, we will no longer pay for idle compute. Web2 businesses don't do this. They only pay for when it's rented to incentivize, because there's no fallback. You always have to say, okay, you know what? Come park your GPUs here and we'll pay you some money. So that immediately improves the capital efficiency of Basilica. Are we following? Cool. Revenue is super important, but we've become faithless. Revenue has become a meme, because how do you expect a 6-month-old startup to have any reasonable revenue? When I started Basilica, it was very obvious to me that the best you can get with GPU rental is to be to cost. If you're just reselling GPUs, especially in the current decentralized AI form, you can never come on the other side of the cost margin. It will keep getting closer and closer, but it never touches it. So how do you break that barrier? By value-added services. When Basilica relaunches, it would have it's first, like, we will still have a GPU rental business, because I think, ideally the North Star is on the supply side. We have on the supply side AI native compute, serverless. One of the first is we're building serverless compute. So think Modal with a GPU marketplace, because Modal does have the right developer experience. But when we combine that with a marketplace, we never want to own GPUs, because when we start to own the GPUs, it becomes a cost of carry. But if we can algorithmically schedule between different kind of jobs, so on the supply side, we offer GPU rentals and serverless compute. Bam. AI native, we're already testing it with our partners. That works well. But on the demand side, why should you give us your GPUs? Our thesis is that it becomes not just renting out GPU, but asset management. So GPU asset management. So it becomes a very interesting proposition to both renters and users. One of the things we might have to subsidize, because that's how businesses start, but we'll rather subsidize directly on the user side, rather than paying miners to just turn up with compute that is not idle and not great. So rather than trying to say, hey, how do we get this cheap compute? Basilica is not going to be known for cheap compute. Basilica is going to be known for the best compute. It's not hard to sell cheap computers, but I think it's a losing game. The kind of scale, economies of scale you need is like bigger than Shadeform. And that is not how we want to compete. And look, these guys turn up with the best VFM, the best services, and that's how we want to win. Hopefully, I don't want to commit to next week, but we will drop another article to explain all of this a bit more. We think it's a very powerful primitive, and using lessons learned, I think we can outcompete Modal. So when Basilica starts, it's just literally plug your application, auto scale, no useless configs. Basilica is primarily a developer-first platform. We're looking at code-first integrations with our SDKs, network volumes. We're already network volumes with Hippius. We're already talking to them, and so that in itself, that in itself becomes a very big business. We have an open supply curve, so you can understand how to position yourself within it. So yeah, that is pretty interesting. So it becomes a case where not only are we competing with Modal, but also Shadeform, because we've done the numbers. We can charge far less than Shadeform because we have their supply. So hoping to use community cloud and having that baseline forces the miners to sort, because again, we want miners that source not the cheapest rate, but for miners to give us alpha, you must be able to get compute. We want owners of these hardware and not people that arbitrage it. So yeah, it's really exciting. You know, it's taken far longer than we thought about it. The team has had time to regroup and come up with a robust platform, which we're very proud of. Cool. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the concept of revenue and how revenue might become our own destruction. Revenue is important. You know, if you're a commodity subnet like Basilica choose, revenue is how you start. You need to show revenue. Otherwise, your cost of goods sold will just consume your whole subnet. Now, if all I ever gave you was a nail, was a hammer, everything is a nail. BitTensor was made to create a litany of epiphenomenal projects. Let's not lose faith. DTAL in its current form is rigged for number to go down. But don't worry, this will be fixed very soon. The price of success is number going down. Now, there is a disconnect between builders and investors because builders do not feel the pain of number go down as much as investors do. Let me give you an example. I'm a sublet owner. As long as I don't fuck shit up crazy or say something very stupid on Twitter space, I continue to earn a reasonable percentage of the market cap, even though the price is going down. This dislocation is bad because you don't really feel the. Do you know why I feel the investors' pain? Because I bought Templar about 6 months ago, 100,000 Templar, and I stopped looking at it. That's not disconnect because every time they make the protocol inflates too much. If the protocol inflates too much, the price goes down. Because what does it mean? It means that for every dollar, take for example, right now to double our price, we probably need like 14,000 tau to double our price. That's crazy because it can become so much harder, even as a builder, to overcome that inertia. So what has this led to? This has led to the second order effect of people chasing projects that can, I won't say they're crappy because I've been told I need PR training, but people are chasing projects that is so much easier for them to materialize the vision of price. Like, oh, what do you do? You know, I'm a SaaS, I do this, people pay me money for this. You miss out on why I believe BitTensor was made. This was made to create projects that defy gravity, projects that blow your imagination. And of course, Templar, Basilica, and Grill are there, are perfect examples. These things need patient capital and they need realistic expectations. People are doing stuff to survive. Like, what? Am I going to go and get like 50 partnerships so that your people say, oh, yeah, revenue is going? No, because that's a distraction for me. You understand? That's a distraction for most people. So it's more about like, you know, let's not lose faith because imagine if the first time you heard about BitTensor, like I'm talking about, I'm preaching to the true believers here. The first time you heard about BitTensor, if they told you that BitTensor to descend into what it is today, where it's people chasing cold key swap and revenue, would you believe? Would you have left everything to start BitTensor? No. So let us, like, you know, we agree and cost is aware of this. There is an investor problem on the chain, and all we have is traders. Why do we have traders? Why do we only have traders? Because we get targeted far too much. We get targeted far too much. Let me give you an example. Shoots is a beast of a project, but Shoots cannot offset its even Shoots. Even as its revenue is going, it can't offset its buy pressure, its sell pressure, or its minor emissions. So if even the best of us is struggling with it, there's either two things. Maybe we're not working hard enough, or we need to revisit the mechanics of the protocol. Honestly, if I work anymore, I'll die. So I'm hoping for the latter. Cool. Yeah, so that was my sermon for today. So Basilica, I will get a confirmation today or next week when we relaunch. But again, we want to relaunch with partners. I want to do it well. Cool. Okay. Thank you guys very much for your time. And yeah, just don't lose faith. I've been there. I love BitTester more than most things here. But when everyone's saying, where revenue, then you start to think that, oh, yeah, I need to get revenue too. Then you over-index on fucking bullshit. Now, I'm not saying revenue is not important, and we will get there. But there is so much to grow, especially for a lot of projects. Take, for example, Templar. We are building primitives that never existed to capture such a massive market. Like, what is the market for, like, global intelligence? What's the TM for that? Someone saying, so, yeah, let me update people on our world. It was very good. We went for three things. My role has to change a lot, which is also something I'm growing into. Traditionally, I'm very good at putting out fires, like commanded dev. Like, everything's breaking. We need to fix 10 things at once. But as Templar matured and all the companies matured, my role has changed to more of like a founder CEO, which is good. Is not something I've been doing for the past 3 years. So part of this is getting out of Discord and going to meet people, going to advocate for us. And it was very good. So we had three things we attended. First was the DAI conference. And it was good. It was kind of like a small conference. And we did meet some people there, but we had the paper there, so it was good to present it. The second thing was very interesting. NeurIPS is the biggest AI conference in the world. This is like proper AI. And Templar was the only BitTensor subnet to get not one, but two NeurIPS papers there. It was pretty interesting. I had a hunch when I started talking about like the internet is your data center. Because what does Templar do? The technology behind Templar enables something that I think I don't communicate well enough. When I start to talk to people about this, it's a market that doesn't exist, something we're trying to terraform. Now, right now, to train a model, you need to collocate 521 H100s. They need to be connected via RDMA, InfiniBand, NVLink. This is expensive to both set up and create a walled garden around model development. So what does Templar do? Templar says, fuck your data center. The internet is your data center. Anywhere in the world, all you need is any GPU connected by the broadband, not InfiniBand, not NVLink or anything like that. Over the internet, we can train over the internet. So when you can do this, what does it mean? It means that people can explore pre-training, because pre-training is the most important bit of the training process. But because it's so expensive, the bang you get for your buck has been very limited. And people prefer RL because you can elicit more gain per unit of compute off RL than you can for pre-training. When we crash that, we open up a whole new market. I'm talking to people and they're very interested. Say, okay, when you guys are ready, let's start to talk. I saw someone train a 300 million parameter model for 500K. I'm like, that is nuts, because we can do that at a fraction of that cost. So again, it's not like if I was over indexing on revenue from day one, the technology would never be at the state where it is today. So that's what it is. So NeurIPS was good. We had two papers. We met some people. I'm very funny about VC funding. Like, we have people that want to give us money, but the problem is at what cost? I want all our stuff to be stuff that last us. And I never want to make a deal that means that, a year down the line, 18 months down the line, someone nukes the chat and puts in an unrecoverable state. So that's why, even though it's very hard, we're just riding the edge. Like, we're just riding the edge because, we don't want to let you guys down. So when you see us occasionally sell the pool, or take very little every day so that at the end of the month, we can pay salaries. I still pretty much work for free. You take a rent out every once in a while. But staff, GPU costs, they don't work on vibes. So that's what we did. We have a lot of funding opportunities. I still talk to them after. What's interesting? So that was NeurIPS. That was good. Then I flew back to Abu Dhabi. The people that made the Falcon series model, it's made by a government institution here called the Technology and Innovation Institute. They invited us to their Open AI Summit, and that was very good because we started to see a lot of people are also looking at sovereign AIs. Countries are funding people to do AI work. So, they're open to the conversation of, wow, okay, can we, you mean we can train without InfiniBand? Because they do crazy things like they go and build data centers on the app. I'm like, bro, just relax. We will give you, there's another thing that was famous. I think region, they want region-specific LLMs. The thing with LLMs is that most of them are trained in Common Crawl, and Common Crawl is in English. So there's a big space, big market for language-specific LLMs. So what we're saying is that when we create this market that doesn't exist, that never exists, the opportunities are uncapped. So yeah, that was my rant. And oh my God, I'm talking to the TII. I would love if the next Falcon could be trained on Templar. So yeah, your boy's been very, very busy. Have a lovely weekend, guys. And thank you guys all for the faith and trust you put in us. We won't let you down. Bye. Happy weekend to everyone apart from cats. Bye.